He had no army, no weapons, no tanks, no warships. He had one piece of cloth and a handful of salt. And with those two things, he brought the largest empire on earth to its knees. This is not a story about war. It is a story about something that scared powerful people far more than war ever could. This is the story of Gandhi, and you have never heard it told like this. Picture the largest empire in human history, an empire so vast that the sun never set on it, an empire that controlled a quarter of the world's land and a quarter of the world's population, an empire backed by the most powerful military on earth, cannons, warships, trained soldiers, an entire industrial machine built for domination. Now picture one man standing against it. No uniform, no weapon, no army behind him. Just a thin man in a white cloth, walking. And the empire blinked first. The year is 1858. Britain has just taken direct control of India. For the next 90 years, India, a subcontinent of hundreds of millions of people, ancient civilizations, vast resources, and deep culture, will be governed from an island thousands of miles away. Britain will take India's cotton and sell it back as cloth. Take India's salt and tax it. Take India's soldiers and send them to die in British wars. Take India's wealth and build London with it. The Indians who resist are arrested. The ones who resist too loudly are shot. The system is designed to be unbreakable. It has worked for nearly a century. Then a lawyer comes home from South Africa. Mohandas Karamchand Gandhi is 45 years old when he returns to India in 1915. He is not impressive to look at. Small, thin, round glasses. He does not give roaring speeches or carry weapons. He travels third class on Indian trains deliberately, not because he cannot afford first class, but because he wants to see how ordinary Indians live. What he sees changes him completely. He sees a people ground down, taxed on everything, humiliated systematically, treated as subjects, not human beings. He sees farmers who grow indigo for British factories and cannot feed their own children. He sees a country bleeding out slowly through 1,000 small cuts rather than one visible wound. And he decides to fight back, but not with violence, with something Britain has no defense against: the truth. Gandhi's weapon is called Satyagraha, a Sanskrit word that translates roughly as truth force or soul force. The idea is simple and radical. You refuse to cooperate with an unjust system. You do not fight it with fists. You make it visible. You make the injustice so obvious, so undeniable, so public, that the people enforcing it have to look at what they are doing, and then the world has to look too. Britain's first response is confusion. You cannot shoot a man for sitting down. You cannot arrest a man for spinning his own cloth. The rulebook has no entry for this. Gandhi starts small. In 1917, he goes to Champaran, a district in northern India where farmers are forced by British law to grow indigo on a portion of their land. Indigo for British textile factories, regardless of what the farmers themselves need. Gandhi arrives, listens to hundreds of farmers, documents their situation, and simply refuses to leave when the British authorities order him out. He is arrested. The courtroom fills with farmers who walk for miles to stand outside. The British authorities, facing a public spectacle they cannot control, drop the charges. The indigo system is investigated and eventually dismantled. A local problem, a small victory. But the method has been tested. Gandhi begins building a movement. He travels India constantly, not to palaces or government offices, but to villages. He meets farmers, weavers, cleaners, the people at the very bottom of the system. He tells them the same thing everywhere he goes. You are not powerless. Your cooperation is what makes the system run. Withdraw your cooperation and the system stops. He asks Indians to stop buying British cloth and start spinning their own. The spinning wheel, the charkha, becomes the symbol of the independence movement. A simple wooden wheel, operated by hand, producing homespun thread. Gandhi spins every day, not because homespun cloth is better than factory cloth, but because every turn of the wheel is an act of defiance. It says, "We do not need you. Britain's economy depends on selling manufactured goods to India. India is the single largest market for British textiles. When Indians stop buying, the factories in Manchester and Birmingham feel it. The resistance is not just moral, it is financial. In 1919, something happens that changes everything. The Amritsar Massacre. On April 13th, a crowd of thousands of Indians gathers in a walled garden called Jallianwala Bagh in the city of Amritsar. They are there for a festival. Some are there to protest recent arrests of independence leaders. The garden has only one entrance. A British general named Reginald Dyer arrives with 90 soldiers and without warning orders them to open fire into the crowd. They fire for 10 minutes. When the ammunition runs low, Dyer orders a stop. The official death count is 379. Indian estimates put it at over 1,000. The wounded number in the thousands. There is nowhere to run. The walls are too high. People jump into a well to escape the bullets and drown. Dyer faces no criminal charges. The British House of Lords initially praises him. A public fund in Britain raises over £20,000 for him, a fortune at the time, as a thank you for his actions. Gandhi reads all of this, and instead of calling for violent revenge, which would have been entirely understandable and which many around him demand, he does something that confuses everyone. He calls for a day of fasting and prayer. Not weakness, strategy. He understands something that Dyer does not. Violence from the independence movement gives Britain justification to respond with more violence. Non-violence removes that justification entirely. It puts the moral weight entirely on one side. It forces the world to see clearly who the aggressor is. The independence movement grows. Millions of Indians stop cooperating with British systems. They stop paying certain taxes. They boycott British courts, British schools, British goods. Lawyers give up their practices. Students leave British universities. The machinery of colonial administration begins to grind. Then comes Gandhi's masterstroke. In 1930, the British government holds a monopoly on salt in India. It is illegal for Indians to produce or collect their own salt, even from the sea that surrounds them on three sides. Every Indian must buy salt from the British government and pay a tax on it. Salt is not a luxury. It is a biological necessity. Every human being needs it to survive. The salt tax falls hardest on the poorest Indians, the ones who can least afford it. Gandhi announces he is going to walk to the sea and make salt. The British authorities think this is absurd. The Viceroy of India receives Gandhi's letter announcing the march and ignores it. His advisors tell him it is a publicity stunt by a strange old man. Let him walk. On March 12, 1930, Gandhi sets out from his ashram with 78 followers. He is 60 years old. He walks 24 days, 240 miles. Through village after village, thousands of Indians join the march or line the roads to watch. International journalists walk alongside them, filing daily dispatches. The world is watching. On April 6th, Gandhi reaches the sea at Dandi. He walks into the water. He picks up a small lump of natural salt from the mud. He holds it up. The image goes around the world. Within weeks, tens of millions of Indians are making their own salt on beaches across the country. The British government arrests 60,000 people. They cannot arrest everyone. The jails overflow. Gandhi himself is arrested and imprisoned. The movement does not stop. It accelerates. The images coming out of India begin to shift global opinion. American newspapers run photographs of unarmed Indians being beaten by police for picking up salt from a beach. The moral argument that Britain is bringing civilization to India starts to collapse under the weight of what civilization apparently looks like up close. World War II accelerates everything. Britain needs Indian soldiers, Indian resources, Indian cooperation to fight Germany and Japan. India's leaders negotiate from a position of increasing power. The cost of holding India by force is rising faster than India's economic value to the empire. In 1947, Britain leaves. India becomes independent. The largest empire in human history withdraws from its most important possession without a decisive military defeat. No British army is beaten in the field. No British navy is sunk. The empire simply finds that the cost of staying, moral, financial, political, is higher than it can pay. Gandhi does not celebrate long. On January 30th, 1948, 5 months after independence, he is assassinated by a Hindu nationalist who believes Gandhi has been too sympathetic toward Muslims during the violence of partition. He is 78 years old. He is walking to an evening prayer meeting when he is shot. He dies with the names of God on his lips. Here is what you are left with. A man who understood that the most powerful weapon against an unjust system is not a gun. It is refusal. Refusal to cooperate. Refusal to be humiliated. Refusal to disappear. He built a movement out of nothing, out of cloth and salt and walking, and used it to move the largest empire the world had ever seen. No general in this series has done what Gandhi did. Hannibal needed elephants and genius. Scipio needed cavalry and tactics. Gandhi needed a spinning wheel and the willingness to go to prison. The empire had all the weapons. Gandhi had something they could not match. He had the truth. And he was willing to walk 240 miles to show it to the world.